Change within their own party. They're calling the Texas two-step an undemocratic voting process. Live at the Capitol, political reporter Jenny Hoff tells us what could change when it comes to the way you vote. Jenny.
Well, Michelle, because of all the confusion we saw at this year's caucus, a special committee has been formed to analyze the process the Texas Democratic Party uses to allocate delegates to its nominees. Now, what they use is a process that's essentially a hybrid. It's dubbed the Texas two-step. And what that means is they have a primary and then a caucus to choose Democratic Party nominees. Now, roughly two-thirds of the votes come from the primary votes, two-thirds of the delegates, but one-third comes from the caucus votes, which happen after the primary polls close. And now there's a group of delegates fighting to get rid of this second part of the process, and they're going up against their own party to do it.
I'm here basically because I feel that my vote did not count as much.
Using their First Amendment right to peaceably assemble, this group of Democrats is calling the democratic voting process in Texas unjust.
We want the primary voters to have the full value of their vote and not have it cut in two.
Obama supporter Wendle Scott voted in both the primary and caucus in his hometown of Gonzales and says even though the process benefited his nominee, it robbed voters like Amy Esdorn, who cast her ballot in the primary but couldn't make it to the caucus later that night.
I feel like I was disenfranchised in a way, since the voters who vote in the caucus, their vote is weighted differently than the people who vote in the primary.
This is a process that's been in place since, to my knowledge, 1988. And it simply hasn't mattered that much until now.
Chairman of the Texas Democratic Party, Boyd Ritchie, told the primary committee that undoubtedly the system has flaws, namely its inability to handle record turnouts like the one we had this year. But he says the two-step process is integral in keeping grassroots groups alive.
We can't just have everyone sit at home on the couch and push a button and presto, everything is taken care of. There has to be some effort put out in order to participate in that process.
Participation is what the party is certainly getting now as Obama and Clinton supporters band together in an effort to leave Texas's two-stepping to the dance floor.
We're trying to force them, and we're going to have to force them to do it because obviously they're not going to voluntarily do it.
Now, here are some of the changes that the Texas Democratic Party is suggesting. First, they said they can use an electronic method instead of a paper method that they're currently using at the caucuses to clear up some of the confusion. Now, that would cost about $2 million. They also said that they can add more staff in hopes that more people will show up to the caucuses next year's like they did this year. And finally, he said that they can move the caucus to the Saturday after the Tuesday primary to allow more voters to attend. But certainly, this is going to be a long process, and nothing would be enacted until 2012. Live at the Capitol, Jenny Hoff, KXAN Austin News.